Today we're going to talk about how we can start some culinary herbs to be able to use in our garden or in a stackable planter box. We might even want to add to our containers that we have. But today we're going to talk about the simple basics on how we can plant some culinary herbs in our own home location. Today we're going to talk about a few different styles. The first one is this one right here. It is a plastic container, but these are recyclable, biodegradable planters that we can use as containers. What we would want to do is we want to take this container and just add some of our potting mix. So we're going to add our potting mix to our container. We're going to keep it down, kind of pat it down a little bit. We would fill all of our containers, and then we would be able to add seed, our herb seeds, to our containers. Now, we may want to use a couple of them and mark and label them, or we might want to take the whole container and make it one specific herb type. We could do basil. It's going to germinate within 3 to 5 days. This could all be basil. Then we could take those containers out, place them into a larger container, and have them going. Other containers that we could use when we're starting our seeds are some of the plastic containers that are reusable containers. They actually pop out, so you can see at the bottom, they have holes. That's why they're inside this plastic to hold any water that would come out the bottom. But you would actually place your soil into this container, set it inside, add your soil into the container itself. We're going to go ahead and fill this. We'll be able to put any excess over here. I'm going to take a little bit off the top because I want it to be level with the container. We're going to actually plant our seeds. Now, I'm going to plant basil and parsley because they're both at the same depth, which is just a 1/4 inch depth for them. So I'm just going to take and place my seeds inside. I'm going to make a small indentation for my seeds to go in. So it's real easy. Just kind of indent them in just a little bit. So this is a 1/4 inch. And we want to put our seeds in our hand so we can go ahead and see them. That way we don't put too many in there. We want to put no more than 2 to 3 seeds in each of our little containers to get started. So I'm going to kind of section them out. I have 2 seeds. They're so tiny. That way I can kind of monitor them on how many I grab, and I can place them in my hand and put them in that little indentation that's already made. Grab just a couple seeds into each of those. So I planted the basil in first. I put the excess seeds back in my bag. I'm going to take parsley, same way. Put some seeds into my hand so I can monitor how many I grab. I'm going to place the 2 to 3 seeds into each of my little holes right here. The excess seeds can be dropped right back in there. Now those are going to go. Now I can lightly tap down, and then I can take my container and then slightly place over the top. Go ahead and fill in those little indentions. I don't want too much. I can take my hand and kind of brush over the top, take the excess and fill it up. Now I don't want to smash them down, because then what's going to happen is that it's going to have a harder time to germinate. You're going to have a compaction layer on the top, and as those seeds start to poke through, they're going to have a harder time to come through. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take my water source. Now, this one, because we have the holes at the bottom and we have a plastic container and the holes are going to allow that water to seep up, I'm going to add water in the bottom section of my container instead of flooding out those little tiny seeds. I'm going to put water down here. Now for this first time being planted, I'm going to go ahead and set my soil back into my water source it will now allow it to actually filter up from the bottom and soak that soil. If it isn't all the way, made it all the way to the top where the whole top of it is wet, I can then add some more water to it within a few hours. So we're going to water from the bottom instead of using this larger container to flood it. What happens is the seed could wash to the side or even wash out of the container if you're too forceful with this water. Now this can go into a south-facing window. Watch the germination. On the back of our seed packet, we can be marking the days. We can label our containers because we know we did basil and we did our parsley. We want to put our labels in there, but we will see that it says germination should occur within 7 to 14 days. Typically, I've seen basil come sooner if the temperatures are higher, and that we also want to look on days to harvest. Days to harvest on this is 60 days. So we'll be able to start harvesting our basil within a couple months. We also can use other containers. Once these start to germinate, the nice part about these is that you can pop it out from the bottom, take that transplant, and then place it into our stackable containers. So this is a great way to transition if you need to move it for space savings and have a vertical space saver for your herbs that you're going to use for your kitchen. You might even transplant those into other containers that go along your windowsill. But whatever way you want to do it, this is a great way to get started with your culinary herbs. For more questions and tips, look at some of our other YouTube videos on how to make a cold frame box or how to transition to stackable containers.